Substances change temperature when they're heated, but how much they change is going to vary. Think about a plate of food at a restaurant. You've got maybe a steak and a baked potato and a piece of Texas toast, right? Which one of those stays too hot to eat for a really long time? That baked potato, right? And which one gets cold really fast? The toast. You ever notice that? There's a reason. And it has to do with the water content. A baked potato has a lot of water in it. Water has a high heat capacity. The toast has very little water in it. And so it cools and heats very quickly. A baked potato takes longer to warm up and longer to cool down. It has to do with the heat capacity. Heat capacity is the amount of heat needed to change the temperature of a particular amount of substance by 1 degree. We usually use what we call the specific heat capacity. It's the quantity of heat needed to change the temperature of 1 gram of the substance by 1 degree Celsius. So the units would be joules per gram degree Celsius. There's a table showing some specific heat capacities. If you just look at the numbers here, you see that the number for water is much larger, right? 4.184 joules per gram degree Celsius, where these metals, lead, gold, silver, copper, that's only 0.385. So it takes much less heat to change the temperature of copper than it does to change the temperature of water. You don't need to memorize this table. You need to be aware of it, and you may have to go look for it when you're doing homework problems. I'll give you heat capacities on an exam. The units are important. Here they're given in joules per gram degree Celsius. Summer in San Francisco versus summer in Fresno, right? So I went on a weather website and I looked up the average high temperature in August. In San Francisco, the average high temperature is all of 66 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a good place to go and be cold. It's colder there, average high, than it is in this room right now. The average high temperature in August in Fresno is 96. 30 degrees difference. Now, it's not that San Francisco is so much farther north than Fresno. The difference is that it's on the coast. San Francisco is on a peninsula. It's surrounded by water. Water has a very high heat capacity. So the sun, which is the source of all of our heat, beats down, and the water absorbs the energy and doesn't change temperature very much. In Fresno, the land around us, for the most part, is very dry. And so the sun comes down and things heat up much more than they do in San Francisco. And then at night, the water releases heat into the air and moderates the low temperature. And around here, the temperature just plummets. As soon as the sun goes behind the trees, right? You're like, oh, finally. And the temperature starts to go down. Did you have a question?
Yeah, in Southern California, because it's not stuck out like the peninsula, that way it's a lot warmer.
Yeah, Southern California will be warmer. They do have the ocean there, but they're further south, and they're not surrounded by the ocean. And what you see if you look at, temperature maps is you'll see the coastal cities will be cooler, and the further inland you go, typically the colder it gets. I'm sorry, the warmer it gets. That was absolutely backwards. Temperature fluctuations are definitely related to the humidity. In the Midwest, it's not uncommon for there to be like a 10-degree temperature change from the high to the low, where around here it can be 106 during the day and 66 at night, right? These huge temperature swings. And it all has to do with the specific heat capacity of water.